Hello, this is the Daily Forex Report for December 19th. We're looking at the U.S.-Japanese yen pair first. This pair closed down on Friday. Did have a rather large range, but a very small body. Overall moving sideways. This pair we're looking for to potentially go as high as 84.58, possibly as low as 83.26. Look for some resistance around 84.25 and look for some support around 83.50. Okay, now looking at the Euro-USD pair, this pair moved lower, had a very large range, but closed lower on Friday. Looking for this pair to continue overall moving sideways. Look for this pair to potentially go as high as 134.38, potentially as low as 129.84. Look for some resistance around 133.50, and look for some support around 131.30. Now the pound-US dollar pair. This pair surged to the downside on Friday. Definitely closed lower. Broke through previous support, but pulled up higher. Closed above it. Look for it to potentially go as high as 157.18, possibly as low as 153.42. Look for some resistance around 156.50, and look for some support around 154.50. Okay, now the U.S. Swiss. This pair closed higher, did break previous support, but overall closed higher, moving sideways. Look for it to potentially go as high as 0.9826, possibly as low as 0.9496. Look for some resistance around 0.9750, and look for some support around 0.9550. Okay, as far as news announcements go, we have the Bank of Japan releasing their monetary policy. No time given and no consensus given, other than it should be released during tomorrow's session. Okay, as far as what I'm looking at during this next session, if you go to the Euro-USD pair, go to the hour time frame, we did have a very large movement in a lot of the pairs, or as far as average true range on Friday, and so we're looking for basically pullback areas of pullbacks that we can potentially scalp, pull out of the market. In this one, we're looking for it to come up and break this particular hour's high, and then come up to this one. Just pulling small little windows basically out of the market, looking to grab those. We are making the market prove itself. So if it continues lower, obviously we're not going to get this trade. But about 15 pips there between 1.3225 and 1.3241. Now if you go to the pound US dollar pair, a very similar type setup. If you notice here, we have an area of previous resistance, which can now possibly be or could be resistance again if the market moves up to it. But if it breaks through it, you can see previously when we went through that area, there were several times where we pretty much went through that whole area all within 1 bar or 1 hour. So what we're doing is looking for it to do that again to the upside. Obviously it has the ways to go before we get there, but this is good because it allows the market to support, basically to prove itself prior to triggering a trade. This would be for about 25 pips. Overall, I'd have to move about 70 pips to get there. Not unheard of in the pound. Now the US Swiss, very similar setup. Looking to pull just a little snippet out of the market from this low to these highs. So basically using an area of support and resistance to pull pips out of the market. You can see here what happened during those couple of hours. Went through it fairly quick, looking for it to do it again, looking for a short, and then looking to exit that trade very quickly for about a 25 pip move, about 24, 25. So overall we have about a 70 pips worth of movement we're looking for across those three pairs of quick little scalps to pull out of the market based on support and resistance. This is a great way to pull pips out of the market, especially if you get a strong move in one direction or the other. especially over a weekend. You have a strong move on a Friday, the tendency is for that to come on back on that next Monday. Not always, of course. Sometimes it jets to the upside really strong, but that's the nice thing about these setups. Typically, it's going to do one or the other, but in a very strong fashion. So if it moves to the upside in a strong fashion, we're not whipsawed out of a trade. But if it is going to reverse in a strong fashion, we grab our pips. Well, I hope that helped. And until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.